Welcome YouTubers to American Truck Simulator. It's a spin-off of Euro Truck Simulator that they just released February 2016 here. I'm going to generate up a new profile. I'm playing this stock with no mods. Obviously the game's a little funner with mods. Compared to the European Truck Simulator 2, the map is a lot smaller. The trucks are definitely less varied than they were in that thing, and they had weird stuff like ferry boats and trains going across the bay to England and stuff like that. None of that really happens in this game, so it's kind of dumbed down. They did put a lot of money and research into making the state of California and Nevada look nice, which is good, but the gameplay is roughly the same as ETS2. So this is American Truck Simulator, or ATS. ETS is European Truck Simulator. Lots of mods available, but like I said, the trucks are very, there's only really two styles of trucks in the default here, and while there's a lot of effort put into various spaces, they get, like shipping and receiving docks and stuff like that, it gets pretty repetitive there too. So anyways, that's a review. One thing they did straighten out is that the roads, very curvy roads in ETS2, it's kind of annoying to be turning your truck all the time. There's a lot straighter routes in American Truck Simulator, which makes it a little bit better. On the downside, the cops are ridiculous in the default game, at least here. Maybe we'll see if they tone that down. So you really can't speed in this game 5 miles and over once you get 55 and above, and when you're in the 30s and 40s, you need to be right at the speed limit. So we'll talk a little bit more of that as we get into the gameplay, but let me set up my profile, have a ball shipping, and pick any old picture here. I'll pick this guy. My truck design, I'll go with oh, maybe they got the classics Kenworths out. I know they're going to release those pretty soon. That they were going to have this classic Kenworth or Peterbilt. Let me get the Peterbilt base. Make a little logo. All this is not terribly important. We'll do a paper airplane, and it's going to be have a ball. English, California, create please. Alright, so let me go through the setup right away. I've got a basic steering wheel, and I'm going to do a real automatic, and let me just do the steering axis. Yep, we'll check it out, working good. Centered. Joystick axis acceleration, so I've got it, my left throttle is brake. I want to switch that just because I like to drive with my left hand, and it likes to have just one-handed acceleration. You'll be accelerating a lot. So now my acceleration's on the left and my braking's on the right. I usually don't use that. I use the keyboard. No clutch, no, I'll look up and down. I'll use the hat switch, up and down, and left and right. I'll use the hat switch. Again, you can use, I'm going to map the left and right keys when I get to that. I'm going to do automatic gearbox. Yeah, it's nice to do manuals. Again, I'll just leave those as default as the shift and the control keys. We'll shift those. If I ever want to switch, you can switch seamlessly between automatics and manuals just in your setup during the game. But that gets pretty boring even with an 8-shifter. Yeah, it's realistic, but it's shifting all the gears in these trucks. After about 10 minutes, you'll just be doing automatics. So we'll just go automatic straight away. Alright, finish the wizard. And city you want to start in, I'm going to pick, Bakersfield is not bad, but I'm going to go ahead and pick San Diego. And as a strategic for that, I'll talk about the map. So let me go ahead and talk about that. This is a picture of the map. It's an American Truck Simulator. And it's a rather small map. It's just 2 states, California and Nevada. And it's pretty much dominated by the I-5. It starts actually in San Diego, and it follows this orange route here up to Sacramento, at which time it hooks right. And that the other major route is this Route 80. This is a little hilly and kind of a pain in the butt, this one. And it goes out to Elko and beyond. But so the I-5 is a really good route, because you can, it's pretty much 75 miles an hour is what you can do in car speed, or as posted speed limits. And so it's nice to pick something close to that route. There is one little route here that hitches off. It kind of is I-10, but then it quickly hooks into I-15, which heads out to Las Vegas. So it makes like a big C. And the rest of this is just slow, curvy or just single lane and troublesome roads as far as getting high speeds and a lot of miles covered. So it's best to put your home base somewhere along this route, either up in Sacramento or down in San Diego. And so back to the setup. I'm going to pick San Diego just because I got that long run up I-5, and when you get into that workhorse mode, you're going to be switching trucks and coming back to your garage all the time. It's just nice to get on the interstate, get some miles, and you can do a couple deliveries. I know there's other ways to do it and be more realistic, but this is the way the game, easiest way to progress. So let me do that. Of course, I'm planning on my first garage that I buy to probably be Los Angeles, so something close, relatively close, but real busy, so my drivers have a lot of jobs available, because early on, when they're low levels, they may come back and say no job, and that just costs you money driving around. Now, we're not going to do tutorial today. We'll be doing enough driving. It's not that hard to pick up, especially if you're an ETS2 driver. But if it's your first visit to American Truck Simulator, then it's a good simulation game to pick up. Definitely something good to be in your arsenal. There are a handful of phases in American Truck Simulator. You start off as a newbie. Basically, you don't own a truck, and you're doing a lot of job market, attempting to save up or purchase a truck of your own. And eventually, once your skill level comes up, you'll be an enthusiast, which is sort of owning a truck, or possibly getting into starting a garage. Workhorse, you'll really be grinding out. Each of these levels gets harder and harder. You have to drive further. Workhorse, you probably own a garage by then, and you're trying to pay off the loans on it, and trying to expand. And once you make it out to like entrepreneur, which is the next level, then you pretty much have a working garage with, hopefully all you need is about 5 drivers. Certainly you start your first garage with 3 drivers, and you'll need about 500 grand either in bank loans or in some saved up to sort of get that running with basic trucks. And it'll take a little while for those guys to kind of groove in and experience up and start generating enough profit a day to meet that. I think it's about $7,500 a day. So you'll need to be doing some driving during that workhorse phase to start to pay off that. But that's basically how the items progress. There might be something beyond entrepreneur. I'm only up at level 15 here. You're an entrepreneur. Obviously, some of the higher level trucks get unlocked at 20. But this is pretty much how the game works in stages like that. So they drop you right into a truck with a quick job delivery right away. You can use your mouse to curve around. Let me go. F1 is the in-cab, F2 is your out-of-cab. Scrolling around, these are the two that you, not F1, just the number key 1 on the keyboard. So number 2 shows you this view. This is a pretty handy view. Number 1 is in-cab. It's best to drive with the in-cab. 5 will center you up on the number pad over on the right. And escape gets you out. So let's do some setup options, because we want to set up our truck, or at least our gameplay. So graphics and audio, let me just take a quick look at graphics. I'm on high here. I don't have a super advanced computer, so it's just kind of normal. I know it's not a $5,000 computer with super things. My audio, I want to turn my audio down a bit. I'm alright. Master volume, just bring that down a bit. I mean, well, it's good to listen to. You listen to the whine of the engine. After a while, that gets old too. Gameplay. Transmissions, like I said, if you don't like real automatic, you can use an 8-shifter or a sequential. Sequential is if you just have a keyboard and want to go gear by gear. You end up skipping gears a lot. So if you're playing sequential and you're using the keyboard, the shift and the control key, you might need to disable your sticky keys. You'll see what I mean. If you hold down the shift a few times or press it 5 times in a row real quick, like you're shifting gears, trying to jump, 3rd to 8th or something, then it'll come up. You'll need to disable that in your Windows. But let me just do real automatic. Fatigue simulation. I don't remember that being an option to turn on and off in ETS2. I'm going to turn it off just because, who wants to. It does add a nice element to the game, and you have to rest all the time and find these rest stops and stuff like that. I think you get like 10 hours or 12 hours of driving, and then you got to rest for 9 hours. Again, I'm going to buzz through this because it makes the game a little funner. Traffic offense, yeah, we'll leave that on. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Steering auto center is on. The braking is insane, but I'm going to leave it there because that's okay. Truck speed limiter is off, so you can do as much as you want. Automatic retarder, I'm going to turn that on. It's important to try to get a gearbox with the retarder and you'll see why. Exhaust brake automatic, I'll turn that off. Auto start, auto liftable, who cares? Air brake simulation off, realistic fuel consumption off. Show truck limit, I'm going to change that to show car limit. You know, in America we tend to drive, even the trucks drive with whatever speed limits on the side of the road. So if you're hauling down the highway at 70 miles an hour, those trucks will do 70. Cars do 80, right? You know, but that's the speed limit way. I'm going to do cruise control, grid setup, 5 kilometers or miles per hour, and the tolerance is going to be 5. You tend to get at higher speeds than 55 and above miles per hour in this game. You'll get a sort of 5 mile per hour retrieve. Oops, I wanted to make this 5. Why isn't doing it that? Well, I'll make it 3 then. The tolerance will be 3, but it's going to jump in 5 steps. I'm going to always select my parking difficulty. Sometimes I don't want to park. After you park a few, yeah, you get bonus XPs. But once you do a few of these and you've done hard, it's you know, that's one of the nice skills about the game is backing up and reversing your truck. But after you've done a few, like I said, it's just adds to the realism. It's nice, but you're just killing yourself. Online news, don't really care about this. Invert mouse, steering camera rotation, no. Physical, so let's see if I got some other stuff. I'm going to do USA, US dollars, miles, pounds, Fahrenheit. So let's do keyboard. There are a couple keyboard changes I'll probably make. So again, I'm going to use the throttle as the up and down keys on the little arrows on your keyboard. Left and right, I'm going to eventually default those out. So steering is just going to be my steering wheel. So I'm going to use my left and right for something else. Looking around actually. Shift up and shift down, I'm alright. I'm not going to shift to neutral. Stop, E for engine, space for parking brake, those are good things. Occasionally I'll use an exhaust brake, but pretty much with a retarder, you don't have to worry a whole lot about that if you put it on cruise control. Normally the truck doesn't get away with you a whole lot. These are good to refer back to. So left turn indicator and right turn indicator, you'll be using those a lot. Those are those bracketed keys. Hazard warning and F, don't use that a whole lot. Light modes you will use, so there's 2 different light modes. Turn on the running lights and then turn on your lights, and K is the high beams. Pretty much I'll be using K a lot at night. You can have a beacon, pretty much I don't use that, but it's got its purposes. Horns I don't use, air horns, light horns. Wipers you will use, need to use P if when it starts raining. Cruise control is C, and I tend to use a secondary, so I'm going to use the N key, which is right above my arrows. It's convenient because I'll have my hands usually on the acceleration or the up key, up arrow key. And then cruise control increase, I'm going to add a second one, or I'm going to add one. It's called page up and page down. Oh, page up. And so that's going to pop me up at 5, and I'm going to use that a lot because it's just kind of takes a long time to accelerate in these trucks. I can do a resume with a home, but I don't use that very often. I'll just use the N to set it and unsend it. I is important because that switches your dashboard display modes. I'm going to leave that as, so that just cycles through your what's on your dashboard, which is a little handy. Dashboard map, don't really care about. I'll do a trip reset. Occasionally I like to do my fuel mileage, although fuel mileage is really not a concern in this game, maybe as much as was in ETS, and you'll see that when you get the skill levels going. Just doesn't matter a whole lot. F4 brings up your truck adjustments. You're going to use those. F5 is your route, F6 is your job, and F7 is whether or not you have damage, and you can repair your truck if you get really squirrely, and F8 don't worry about. Other than that, let's see, I'm going to do look left, look right. I'm going to add my arrow keys in here, left and right, so those are convenient. It doesn't really speed too much, but if I don't want to grab the mouse for some reason, I can do it right there with my control. Look forward, the number key 5 is usually your look forward, and you know 7 and 9 are defaulted, so you can angles, and 4 and 6 will look left and right, so I'll be using those quite often when I don't want to grab the mouse. E for activating and T for trailer. I'm going to use those, and much of this else. World map is M, and if you ever want to talk to screen chat, it's F10. So those are my control settings. And then I need to go to the controls themselves, wheel, and here's where you take that non-linearity and jack it over and put this somewhere in the middle. That's usually pretty good. It's really sensitive as far as when you're driving. It's not that I don't have the greatest wheel. I don't have, like, I got a cheap old you know, $30, $60, $30 wheel, I guess, probably not a $300 wheel like some of these professional guys have. Don't care about the force feedback, steering, acceleration was all done already when we did the Wizard. Look up, left, down. Anything else I need here? No, I'm not doing those buttons. Automatic, cursor speed. We're okay there. So we're ready to drive now. Got the control set up. You're just going to X out of that and go back to drive. So the default for your truck, well, every truck you get into, you're going to want to do the F4 key, and F4 once, F4 twice, and F4 3 times gets your seat adjustment, and then you probably want to come back a little bit off it so you can see your left mirror. And sometimes you want to go up and down with the C and the F. I'm just going to leave this here, and I can see my mirror. Now the bad part about this is when you're renting trucks, you can do another F4. Let me F4 once and twice again, and I can do the left mirror, and I can use A and D to go out with the top here, so I'll do it out so I can see it. And 6 is the other one, which is the small left, and get that one out. So all I'm doing is changing these mirrors over here. And let me just F4 out of that. So that, like I said, when you F5, it's going to pop you back to here. When you own a truck, it'll remember that seat adjustment. But when you get in these rental trucks, it's nice to come off a little bit. So that now I can see my left mirror. Now this right mirror, I think the F2 disappeared. I usually leave the right mirror up there rather than doing one of these scrolly things, because it's just kind of hard to do and come back. You know, you can do it if you get real good at it, but usually that just gives you a view of what I was on the right. So here's your navigation screen. That's your F5, and I usually leave that up, and it indicates how fast you're going, miles per hour, what gear you're in, whether you're in forward, neutral, and you got to use the shift to go to drive, and the control will bring you back to neutral control. So control's going backwards, shift is going forward. You do have to do that. How much gas you got, whether or not you got mail, and whether your sleepy time. Of course, I turn the sleepy time off, and also how much money you have. But that basically, it's got your course for you and where you're going to go, and it's got your ETA. Let's look at F6 real quick, which is your job. We're hooked up with a job here. So it's expected Monday 8:24 to Monday 3:04, and it's already Monday at 10:06. So I better get on it. Now this is a pretty short route. That's why you're getting paid $208. You got 4 hours remaining. It's machine parts, 18,000 pounds. I'm not sure what kind of truck I'm driving. I'm driving a Peterbilt, but I don't know what level of engine and stuff like that I have. I got no damage, and I can call for assistance by hitting enter here, and F8, no short messages. So I go back to F5. It's showing me the red line on my SAV. If you press F5, you can get rid of this, but you know, it's nice always to have up. The other thing I talked about was the I key. So I tells me right now I've got the distance that I can drive, and so I can drive 1,000 miles. I basically got a full tank. If I hit I again, it tells me water levels. I don't care about that. I again gives me the speedo, how fast I'm going, and my cruise control is always down here. So the Kenworth is a little bit different, but as you cycle through, the last thing gives me, you know, miles per gallon or fuel economy. So you don't really need that unless you're really into it. It tells me what gear I'm in, but it tells me what gear I'm in over here too. So it's nice to have that up. So I'm going to do this. So I'll have my speed showing here, and then my setting for my cruise. So I use the cruise even in town. But let me go ahead. I got it in gear. We're not actually started yet. So you can hit the E key, or you can just hit the up arrow, and it will fire up. Now I've got RPMs. Let me just take a quick look, spin around. So this is actually difficult to get out of this guy here. So I'm just going to do a little forward, which is acceleration. I probably need to back this one out just a bit. This is one of the difficult, you can see as you get closer to the wall, it gets closer to the truck. So let me just stop there, back it up, give me myself the right wheel, just to jackknife it a little bit. That's how you got to get out of this. It's called Walbert, I believe. It's really supposed to be like a Walmart in the game, but you know, everything's proprietary or trademarked. So some of the mods will probably fix that. So once we get going, I'm going to go back to the F1 screen here. You could have done this all in the cab, or whatever you want to do. So I usually do a pre-check, which is, well, let me get out close to the road here. So just watch the mirrors. You got to swing your trailer. You get used to that. And I'm going to stop right here before I got to get in here. And I'll do the map key. So this is usually you want to make sure you got enough gas. You want to make sure that, you know, if you're doing sleeping stuff, you want to make sure you got sleepy time, you know, where you're going to have to rest. And here's your map routes. So I got to zoom in because this map is so short that I'm just going, I'm going to go along. I'm here, right here where my icon is, over here. And I'm just going to follow this road, jag up a little bit, jag across. And I'm going to stop at KMS or whatever that is, HMS. So again, it's a very short route for an intro. You can change your route by left clicking. I'm not going to do this one because it's going to take me by, again, all these gray roads have been undiscovered. And the city itself is discovered because I'm in it. But one of the early plans is to discover some of these cities and go to different cities. So I'm going to drive along here. I'm going to pick up that unknown. That is likely a dealer. That's likely a recruiting center. But you need to pick up a couple dealers if you eventually want to buy trucks. We're nowhere close to buying trucks right now. But that's the world map. And again, we talked about the I-5. Big, nice, fast thing on this. And it gets up to Sacramento, and then it'll go off to Truckee. Yeah, it goes other places, and there's nice places like San Francisco and everything, and Redding, Eureka, Hornbrook, Jackpot in the upper right. Vegas is over here. Tonopah in the middle, Carson City, and then you got everything down here. So a lot of concentration down here, and these are windy roads, very nice and scenic. Eventually you get to explore them. That's one of the things you can do, but there's no... I've 0% explored right now, but that's a private goal of doing it, not critical to the game. So let me escape out of there, and I'm ready to go. So let me turn on my right blinker, take a little look over there. We're good to go. Take a look over there. I can't quite see, so let me just edge up and turn. We're okay there. So I'm going to bring it back. Now I got to clear the gate. Again, this is one of the trickier to leave. Did a crappy job on that. So let me just, you got to stop on red. One of the differences between ETS2 and America is you can do a right on red. You'll need to stop at the line, put your blinker on, and then you can go to the right. Whereas in Europe they don't do that. Europe you have to stop and wait for the light. In this case, since I'm going straight, I got to wait for the light so it turns green. There's no yellow before the green like there was in ETS. If you want to, cheat by looking up at the cross light, especially at night, then that's something you can do to gauge when to start, because trucks start a little slow. So I'm going to use right away, I'm going to hit the end key, because once you get above 20 miles an hour, you're able to engage the cruise control. And then right now it's locked in at 23 where I locked it in at. If I hit page up, it'll go to 25. If I hit page up, it'll go to 30. Again, your speed limit is down here on the NavSat. Very important to pay attention to that and learn those. And I can go back down to 25, but I don't have a retarder on this truck. So you can see it's just kind of gliding at 25. I'm going to have to do more manually braking. If you had a retarder, it would bring it down to 25 pretty quickly on just the cruise control. So you can start to drive with your cruise control. So my NavSat says go to the right here. And again, I could do this stop and go, but a lot of times the lights turn for you like that. Swing it a little wide. Watch for traffic. Accelerate out. Get above 20. Hit end. Put your cruise. Bump it up to 25, bump it up to 30. You really don't want to go 35. Again, the cops are ridiculous in this default game. We're passing the Peterbilt over here. We should discover, there you go, Peterbilt truck dealer discovered. So now I can buy Peterbilts. Of course, I have $1,500 and trucks are, whoops, I'm supposed to make a left here. Brake, signal, and just give it a turn. You can look to the left if you want, but for the most part, if you swing it, you're okay there. Ooh, I think I actually brushed a car, but they didn't give me any penalty. I'm going straight through this light. So let me just drift up to it. And I guess I'm going to have to stop. You can see it's turning yellow right now. I'll go green. Occasionally these guys will be stuck out in the intersection. Not a lot of traffic right now at this time of day. It's Monday at 10 in the morning. There could be traffic. But you can see the detail. The detail is pretty nice, even though some of these features are repetitive. A lot more detail than maybe there was in Euro Truck. And once you get out to special places, that was a recruiting agency. Now I got to get on it a little bit here. It turned yellow. I'm going to make a right here. So again, this is the first delivery. You got to get familiar with making deliveries. Let me stop at the light, do a right, look over there. Nobody's coming, and I should be able to go and not get a traffic offense. If you do blow a traffic light, It's a couple different, I've seen a couple different, and maybe it's the number of traffic lights you blow. It might be on the it starts at $700 fine, so pretty steep fine when you don't have any money, especially in these early levels. You want to try to not make, you don't want to crash into people, you don't want to speed. Speed is like $1,000 fine, and I've seen the $1,400 for duplicates, which is, I think maybe if you offend twice in a row without doing something or whatever. They do stuff like that. Sometimes it's AI waits for you, sometimes it doesn't. They weren't so nice there. This truck's going to go by. It's okay to be in the intersection typically, but again, this is what I talked about, intersections clearing out. And I got to swing it wide. I got a truck in the way there. And this is my delivery, HMS. So one of the early strategies, you get a lot of bonus. You get experience points for driving miles. Of course, this guy was like nowhere for a delivery. But I usually look at this and say, okay, what do I want me to do? So they give you 3 options for parking it. Where do you need it? This is the hardest one. And if I click on this, they'll give me 40 XP, but I got to put it here. This is 15 XP, but it's a very simple park. I just pull it in. And 0 XP if you just want to skip it. Early on, if this is 90 XP, I might take a shot at it. That's usually more difficult parking than a 40 XP, but it's such a bonus. You'll see the bonuses. For this video, I'm just going to do the let's play it safe and just get it done real quick, because you don't want to watch me park for a minute or so. So just where am I going? I'm going right over here. It's 1 star. I might not have cut that too well. I might need to go through and back it up. They're pretty generous on the parking tolerance sometimes. Not in this case. So I really needed to screw that up. So let me go F2. You can use your mirrors, or you can rotate around with F2, or use your mouse. Yeah, I was way off on that one. Just didn't make that turn quite enough. So backing a trailer, fun part of everything. Not too terribly difficult, but if you never backed a trailer before, like a boat trailer or whatever, very simple. You're gonna have to, something you gotta learn. It takes a little bit of skill. And I'm just gonna back right through it here and just go forward again. So I got myself all out of sorts, but it should. There you go. Whoop! I went by it. Let me back up. Oh, I gotta disable that stupid beeping sound. I hate that too. Hit T, disconnect the trailer, and we'll get our summary for the job. I went a big 3 miles. Took me 30 minutes their time. I consumed 0.8 gallons. I got $208 and 3 experience points, but I got 15 experience points for parking the trailer. I could have got up to 40. And those experience, I need 200 the next level. I'm level 0, a newbie. And every time you level up, you get an opportunity to pick a new category that gets you more expensive jobs. So that was my first job. Not terribly exciting. Everybody's going to get one of those, but